who do you see on the horizon for 2028 in the Democratic primary?
Right now?
Yeah.
Bernie and AOC.
No.
They got the biggest crowds.
That doesn't matter.
It won't sustain itself, but right now they have no leader. Okay? But this is the thing the Republican Party has to understand, too. Both parties lost in the last election.
AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life.
Bill Maher just hosted former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and sparks flew. But the real explosion came when the conversation veered toward AOC and the mounting speculation around her 2028 run. Maher didn't just scoff at McCarthy's wild dream of AOC topping the ticket. He obliterated it, then calmly, ruthlessly dissected why the Democrats are blindly marching toward a 2028 catastrophe. Every scorcher from that exchange is queued up. So before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's get into it.
They gamed the system. They changed it.
And who do you see on the horizon for 2028 in the Democratic primary?
Right now?
Yeah.
Bernie and AOC.
No.
They got the biggest crowds.
That doesn't matter.
It won't sustain itself, but right now they have no leader. Okay? But this is the thing the Republican Party has to understand, too. Both parties lost in the last election. Trump won, okay? And I don't know if that's going to transfer. We should have won 4 more seats in the Senate. If you looked at the last 70 races for the Senate, 69 follow exactly the way.
I think it's Moore versus Youngkin. That's where I see it.
Youngkin would be.
Youngkin is going to go back to adjacent, and then Vance and Jr. will fight it out for that crowd.
But AOC and Bernie, and who's at the top of the ticket?
They're going to lead right now.
Who's at the top of that ticket, Kevin? Because if it's not Bernie, he's going to be vice president and then wait his turn?
No, it would be.
It's like Bill Maher physically flinches at the very idea of AOC leading the Democrats into 2028. And honestly, who can blame him? Still, her name is everywhere. Don Lemon's hyping her up, Kevin McCarthy's oddly curious, and a growing lineup of Democratic heavyweights seem to think she's their golden ticket. It feels like the party's betting it all on charisma and clout over competence, and even the comment section lit up with people slamming Maher for torching the Bernie AOC dream team, which, for some, is still the ultimate fantasy. But this conversation goes way deeper than AOC. It's a full-blown identity crisis for the Democratic Party, stuck between doubling down on woke progressivism and risking another electoral meltdown, or slamming the brakes before they crash idealism straight into irrelevance, and Maher's not holding back while the backlash only grows louder.
Bernie's been running each time. I'm just saying who's in the lead right now. I don't think that's how it ends up.
But big crowds don't necessarily mean who's the right candidate. When I started
but it drives where the ideas are going to go. It's going to drive the money for a while.
It doesn't make them the winner.
It doesn't make them the winner. You'll have to wait till you'll get 2 years out, and then you'll start seeing these governors that start showing solutions. You also have to know, what is the issue going to be? Are we going to have a foreign policy issue? Are we going to have an economic issue? And who's been the best in leading in that? But right now, for the Democrats, who's going to lead for the next 2 years? The money is going to. AOC outraised everybody in the House.
And it's all small donors.
It's all small donors.
Yeah.
And this is exactly where Trump was when no one gave him a chance at 17. He outraised everybody else. So that's where the base is at, right?
And there it is, the core of the problem. Elections aren't just popularity contests where the loudest cheer or fattest war chest guarantees victory. Kamala Harris in 2024 is the ultimate cautionary tale. She checked every box, hauled in a staggering $1.5 billion, had celebrities fawning over her like it was Coachella, and packed stadiums like a bona fide rock star, only to suffer one of the most crushing defeats in recent political memory. Bravo. That's exactly what Maher's drilling into. The left's obsession with optics over substance, mistaking noise for vision, spectacle for strategy, and don't even get started on the Trump contrast. Whatever you think of him, Trump didn't just draw crowds, he delivered a message, one that resonated, that felt real, not like it was ripped from a sociology syllabus. He didn't make moderates squirm with fringe takes. He was, for better or worse, unapologetically himself. Unlike Kamala, who somehow managed to be omnipresent yet invisible all at once.
We do know what AOC will not be doing, and that's running for the top spot on the Oversight Committee, if you can put a D0 here. She says Jerry Connolly stepped aside, who had beat her in the race for ranking Dem on Oversight, and she says she's not running this time. She says, quote, "It's actually clear to me that the underlying dynamics in the caucus have not shifted with respect to seniority as much as I think would be necessary, and so I believe I'll be staying put at Energy and Commerce," unquote. Because if she would be ranking member, then she couldn't serve on Energy and Commerce Committee.
If you can cut through the word salad, here's the real story. AOC isn't gunning for the top spot on the Oversight Committee, and it's not hard to see why. The Democratic Party still bows to seniority, which stacked the deck against her from the start, a lesson she learned the hard way last year when she lost to 75-year-old Jerry Connolly. But the real kicker? Going for oversight would mean giving up her powerful seat on the Energy and Commerce Committee, a strategic perch she's in no rush to abandon, especially if a future presidential run is on her radar. And let's be honest, every move AOC makes is about optics as much as power. Sure, oversight offers TV time and viral clips, but Energy and Commerce gives her serious policy clout on headline issues like climate and corporate regulation. Ditching that for endless partisan shouting matches isn't exactly a boss move when you're playing the long game, and possibly eyeing the White House. Still, people like Bill Maher and Greg Gutfeld aren't buying her as the Democrats' next big thing, and here's why.
AOC finally responded proudly concerning a high school yearbook photo that proves she grew up in a wealthy suburb. She said, "See, I told you I went to high school."
And I can tell you, I know that when I was waitressing and struggling to put food on the table, for a while there, I did. I tried to stop caring. I tried to just keep my head down, work my shifts, and accept that this is just how things are. But that is no way to live, Arizona. It's no way to live.
So if you haven't heard, AOC's name isn't exactly AOC, it's Sandy Ocasio, and a recent deep dive into her past has stirred up some inconvenient truths. Turns out the polished Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez persona we know today didn't grow out of the gritty Bronx hardship tale she often tells. Instead, records point to a much more comfortable upbringing than she lets on. And that waitressing job she constantly references as her badge of working-class credibility. Let's be real. Plenty of privileged college kids and trust fund babies have slung burgers or poured drinks for a semester. In America, that's more coming-of-age cliché than symbol of poverty. And while it doesn't disqualify her from understanding economic issues, it does crack the veneer of that carefully crafted, from-the-struggle brand she leans on so heavily.
AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life.
Interestingly, and alarmingly, people have bought into her meticulously curated narrative, swallowing it whole without question. They see her as this bold, fearless crusader, a woman who stares down power and is somehow destined to rescue America, all because she supposedly overcame adversity in her personal life. Never mind that much of that adversity is exaggerated or flat-out misleading. But here's the kicker. The story she's selling crumbles under serious scrutiny because her background isn't the gritty survival saga she spins, and her meteoric rise owes more to savvy image crafting than to any unshakable set of principles. Still, many remain entranced by her flashy word salads and fiery theatrics, confusing manic rants for eloquence and rehearsed indignation for real courage. What they hail as bravery is often just branding, and at the end of the day, this isn't leadership. It's performance art with a political twist.
So by now you heard that AOC, among others, were arrested last night. She truly is an American hero. It was brutal, taken out in cuffs. Well, technically, her shirt had cuffs. Maybe French cuffs.
This all unfolded during a protest against the Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, and unsurprisingly, AOC and her woke entourage were anything but thrilled at the notion of unborn babies actually having a chance at life, and that right there is the political circus Bill Maher's been warning about, where rigid ideology steamrolls over basic common sense. AOC, like Kamala Harris, is simply too woke to lead the Democratic Party anywhere near electoral victory because their politics aren't about unity or pragmatism. They're driven by Twitter applause and activist buzzwords, with every position they take engineered more for a viral moment than for building a better country. And while the far left keeps cheering, the average voter, the ones who actually decide elections, are left feeling alienated, confused, or just plain worn out. If Democrats keep putting forward candidates who trade real policy for political theater, 2028 could make the disaster of 2024 look like a warm-up act.
This nonsense from like AOC that he should be impeached is just absurd. Absurd. There's no... Okay, get back to me when you've read the Constitution or get a law degree, because you sound like an absolute idiot. There is absolutely no ground to impeach the president. He 100% was within his constitutional authority and his congressionally authorized authority to do what he did on Saturday. Okay, but as for whether it's a good idea, that's a debate we should be having. And look, you know, if we could get congressional approval of the specific action, fine, I'm okay with that too. If you want to bring it to Congress, go ahead and see how that goes. I don't think it's necessary, but go for it if you want to.
Aside from her fixation on all things woke, AOC also seems to suffer from a chronic case of Trump derangement syndrome, a condition that leaves her completely unhinged whenever the former president enters the conversation. Case in point, her backing of one of the most absurd political stunts in recent memory. Yet another attempt to impeach Trump, this time for the so-called crime of deploying nuclear strikes in Iran, which, in reality, was about deterring conflict and protecting assets, not launching an actual war. But in AOC's world, that's somehow impeachment-worthy, not because of justice, but because of obsession. She and her allies aren't chasing accountability. They're chasing clout, headlines, and social media buzz, even if it means ignoring real issues in favor of non-stop political theater. And if anything, her relentless anti-Trump tirades reveal how unserious she is about actual governance. It's all spectacle, all drama, and absolutely zero delivery.
Donald Trump is a criminal who was found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud, liable for sexual abuse. Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too. When he talks about racists and criminals, he should look in the mirror.
Okay. Clearly saying that Donald Trump is a racist. Sorry. She also thinks he's a racist. He's all the ists. But here, she's in deep trouble because he was not found liable for rape. And George Stephanopoulos just had to pay ABC some $15 million to President Trump to settle a defamation lawsuit for saying that.
Honestly, this might just be the wake-up call AOC so badly needs, a lesson in sticking to facts and exercising a little restraint before grabbing the mic. Her non-stop barrage of half-baked hot takes and emotional outbursts may earn her standing ovations on social media, but in the real world, reckless speech comes with real consequences. And while this moment should absolutely serve as a reality check for her, it's also a broader warning. Get your facts straight before joining the outrage mob. Frankly, I'd welcome it if Trump sued her into oblivion, not out of spite, but to inject some much-needed accountability into a political culture where figures like AOC can lob baseless smears without paying a price. It's time to retire the slander playbook and bring truth back into our national conversation, because enough is enough. AOC's theatrics, misinformation, and obsession with Trump don't just undermine her. They spotlight how unfit she is for serious leadership. Her embellished origin story, reckless accusations, and constant woke grandstanding might electrify her base, but they do nothing for the country. America deserves leaders grounded in facts, not fanfare, and it's long past time we demanded better. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.